All right, so begins the competition. Who's going to be the first one? There we go. People are starting to pop on now. Hello, everyone. Decided to do an earlier one today so that our friends across the pond didn't have to be up at 2 in the morning to watch. I'm right, it's not like only 9:30 there now, so it should be a little easier. There we go. Getting to see a few people. There's someone from the UK. Yeah, we went on early today, so those of you in the UK didn't have to be up at 2 in the morning. Thought that would be a nice change of pace. Doesn't have to be the same time every day, right? Oh, you're making me blush, Brandy. Hi. Getting people from the UK, getting people from San Diego, people from Seattle, people from North Carolina. All right, everybody's checking in. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Everyone having a good day? Oh, that's too bad your internet's been down. Yeah, that happens sometimes. That's okay. Everything's still up. I even post all my live streams, so you can always go back and watch them later. Hey, Jenny, how you doing? Kind of looking to see if the weather's going to do something interesting today. We got this hurricane kind of blowing off the coast of Florida right now. It looks like it's going to probably miss us, but maybe we'll get a little rain from that. That would be kind of fun. Wouldn't want to hit a category 4 though. That's what it is right now. That's going to be a big hurricane. Hope everyone in Florida is going to be okay. That's one of the reasons why I kind of chose to kind of move a little further inland. Usually the most dangerous thing about a hurricane is the storm surge, but I'm so far inland, shouldn't be a problem. We'll just get a lot of rain, maybe some wind. Yeah, there we go. 8:30 in UK. That's not too bad. It's a lot better than 1 a.m., right? I appreciate that, Tina. I'm glad you watch everything. Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of hurricanes in California, but they did happen from time to time. They were very, very rare, though. Usually, if you do get anything in California, it was like maybe something that hit Mexico, and you just kind of got the edges of it. 6:30 a.m. in Australia. Okay, that's not well. That's I don't know. That's a little early, but I don't know. If you're up at that time, that's great. I'm glad you're here. What does my shirt say? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it either. That's the joke. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, there was a volcano that erupted on Iceland and threw a whole bunch of ash up into the air and basically shut down air travel over like most of Europe for like several days because you couldn't fly through the ash. And that's the name of the volcano. Yeah, they couldn't make it easy, could they? Yeah, if you're living in Florida, you gotta get away from the coast right now because like I said, the worst part of the hurricane isn't the wind or even the rain; it's the storm surge. And if you're like on the east coast of Florida, on the peninsula there, yeah, definitely get away from the shore. Get at least 20 or 30 feet above sea level because you don't want to mess with that storm surge. We don't know exactly where it's going to hit, but it's supposed to hit sometime tomorrow, I think. It's a category 4 now, so that's a really big hurricane. Hi, Jackie. How are you? Geez, all of a sudden no one has anything to say. Any plans for Labor Day weekend? No, not at this point. I mean, I'll probably go find something interesting to vlog, but I actually just finished up the vlog that I'm going to put up on Monday, just a few minutes before I just started this. So, well, that's the whole question, Danielle. I don't know what constitutes a good vlog these days. It's always a question. I put something up and I think, oh, this one's going to be really horrible. Nobody's going to watch this, and then that's the one that does really well. And then I'll go do something else that I think, oh yeah, this is going to be a great one, and nobody's interested. I don't know. It's still a big question mark for me. I'm still trying to figure this all out. All right, welcome, Colorado. Like to see me cook more often. Well, maybe, I don't do a whole lot right here because, a lot of my cooking stuff is in the storage locker. So that kind of makes it, you know, difficult. I'm kind of limited in what my options are. I got 3 or 4 pots and pans, and that's about it. I'm also not a huge fan of an electric range, which is what I have here. I've always had gas at home, and I prefer gas much better. It's much easier to control the heat. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. That's really generous of you. Always can make use of that. Thanks, Brandy. I'm glad you like my vlogs. It means I'm doing something right, right? Hello, Stevo. How? Welcome to the chat. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Electric stoves, you just can't control the heat because it takes too long to heat up, and then if you get too hot, it takes too long to cool it down again. I've always, I've always had gas when I've been out on my own, and yeah, that sounded weird, didn't it? I've always had a gas range. Let's put it that way. I don't have gas. Well, sometimes I have gas, but that's another subject. Don't want to go too much into that. I don't want to have YouTube demonetize this one. I see a lot of places around here that have natural gas going into the house too. So, when I buy a house, I've got a list of things that I'm going to want when I get a house, and definitely a natural gas stove is high on the list. Yeah, yeah, my gas problem is definitely a personal problem. But the beauty is you don't have to, you're live streaming. You don't have to deal with that. At least not yet. We haven't developed that technology on computers yet, where we can, you know, it's just sight and sound right now. We haven't gotten to the point where it's smell yet. Maybe someday. Is my neighborhood a quiet neighborhood? Yeah, pretty much so. That's one of the things I like about this place. You wouldn't think of an apartment being that quiet, but it really has been. Thanks. I'm glad you liked the cave, the caverns, the interspace caverns. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I actually wish it had been longer. Thanks, Larry. I'm glad you like it when I'm going around and visiting Texas or visiting Waco. It was funny. I was out and about yesterday, and so I was driving around. I saw this funny little cemetery kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I decided to look at it. And I vlogged the whole thing, and then got back home and realized, oh wait, that's the same place I vlogged about a month and a half ago. So I gotta start putting thumbnails in a or thumbtacks into a map so I know where I've been. Thanks, Janet. I like the caves too. They were a lot of fun. It was especially good because it was so hot that day, and it was nice to get down there into a place where it was 72 degrees. That was definitely a good thing to do on that day. It was weird because when he came up out of the cave too, there was like it took you moving about 5 feet, and then you got to the point where it's like, whoa, the temperature just went up like 20 degrees. It's insane how fast that changes. Thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the vlogs. You know, it's the fact that you guys keep watching this every day. It makes it easy to keep doing it every day. You know, I just went out today. I just started driving around and said, okay, what can we see that looks interesting? And I just kind of stumbled across. I saw a sign that says something interesting that way. I'm not going to say what it is. You'll have to wait for a couple days. But I went and looked at it, and it probably, I don't know. I just shot it. I haven't edited it yet, but it's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes of content. So, you know what? That's how it works. A lot of times, you know, it turns out it's really easy vlogs if you go out and just do, you know, a little clip here and a little clip here and a little clip here, and you come up and you got 50 clips that are each 10 or 15 seconds long, and that's just a perfectly respectable vlog. How are the fur babies? Well, I noticed when I started talking, I saw Bite come down. So Bite is literally right over there, kind of staring at me. In fact, I've been unable to coax him up with the kitty treats lately, even though I can kind of get, you know, that just kind of made him stand up and come here. But I've decided I'm going to try and bribe him another way. One of his favorite things in the world is the kitty brush. And so I'm hoping I can bribe him up onto the couch here with a kitty brush. You going to come up and say hi? Huh? Got the kitty brush. Kitty brush is up here. No? I don't know. No kitty brush unless you come up. No? Not going to do it? Okay. I don't know if you heard him meowing, but he's there. Wish you had better weather here in the UK. I don't know. What's happening in the UK? Is it raining? We could use a little rain here. It's hot today. Actually, it's a little cooler out today, which is kind of nice. When do I start decorating for Halloween? I don't know. Usually when I was at home, I didn't put Halloween decorations up usually until the day before, primarily because I just, you know, there was all sorts of stuff, I didn't want stuff to get wet from the sprinklers or stuff like that. But I don't know what I'll do this year, how much I'll do. But usually it'll probably go up a day or so, a day or so early. Come on, you just going to sit there and stare at me? You're going to come up for the kitty brush, huh? Kitty brush. Come on. Kitty brush. Wish you could see him right now. He's grabbing the brush with his paw and pulling it towards him. Come on. Maybe we'll just leave it up there, let him look at it for a while. Maybe I'll encourage him to come up. Yeah, like I've said before, cats want love, but they want it under their own terms. Yeah, I've seen Halloween candy at my local supermarket too for the last few days. Um, I don't know. I've always kind of gotten stuff at Costco, and Costco has these huge bags of candy that you can buy. And usually, what I do is buy two big bags. One of them, like with, you know, well, basically, I buy things that I like. So, you know, because then if you don't, you know, give it all out, then you know, then I can eat it, and it's got to be something I like. So, you know, I usually get like a big bag of like chocolates, and then like a big bag of like, you know, Twizzlers and Nerds and you know, that kind of stuff. Things I enjoy eating. I don't know. I haven't actually asked anyone about having outside decorations. I was going to do it anyway and see if anyone complained. Um, you know, but probably, you know, there's kind of a little green area out in front of my apartment, and I was thinking, you know, I've got some like, you know, I've got those styrofoam tombstones and stuff like that, and you know, I don't know, I might put those out. I got some strobe lights and black lights and stuff like that. We'll hang that up. You know, it's all going to depend on what the job looks like because if I got to work on Halloween night, then you know, there's no sense in doing anything. I guess I'll make my decisions when we get closer. Well, look on the bright side, Jenny. It's not going to be as bad as it's going to be down in Florida on Labor Day. You know, they're going to have to contend with like a Category 4 hurricane. Wow, that's a lot of cats. Yeah, two is the most I've ever, well, actually, technically three is the most I've ever had because I had a cat when I got bite and nibble when they were kittens, but that one, he was 11 years old and he passed away about a year after that. He got diabetes and it just got so bad I had to put him down. He was a good boy though. I miss him a lot. How are my parents doing? I haven't really talked to them a lot like the last couple weeks, but I haven't heard anything. There haven't been any false alarms from Life Alert, so uh, usually, generally, that means good. No news is good news. Yeah, I'm actually hoping we get a little bit of rain from this hurricane, but it looks like it's going to move east of me. At which point, we probably won't get anything. We might get a little something from the outer bands, but usually what that is, it rains for 10 or 15 minutes and then that's it. I don't know. I still love it when it rains. That was one of the reasons I chose Texas. No rain in Vegas. That doesn't surprise me. I don't think it rains very often in Vegas. But when it does, you get the gully washers, don't you? Yeah, my buddy, his name was Cat. Nice original name, huh, for a cat? Yeah, I lost Cat, I don't know, 6 or 8 months after I got bite and nibble. Um, he got diabetes and it just got really bad. I was spending all sorts of money, giving him insulin shots a couple times a day. And I only really have one experience with Life Alert, and unfortunately, they kind of sent me a false alarm. Uh, my father was working in the bathroom one day, and he'd been down on his knees working for a while, and he just couldn't get up, and so he had to call for help, and he triggered his little Life Alert pendant, and they contacted us, my sister and I, and the recording actually said that he had fallen and was bleeding, which neither of those were the case. He just got down on his knees and he couldn't get back up again. So basically, they called the paramedics, and the paramedics came over and they had a couple big, strong guys help pull him back on his feet, and then he was fine. I've lost a number of pets over the years, and you're right, it hurts a lot. And unfortunately, every single one of them I've had to put down, so that makes it even harder. Knowing they're suffering and knowing that you got to make the decision that's like, okay, it's over. We've done everything we can. I don't want him suffering anymore. It's just better this way. But it always hurts. I've had to put down several cats and several dogs. It hurts. Yeah, well, when we got the false alarm from Life Alert, my mom kept saying that she was gonna call Life Alert and scream at them and say, "Yeah, yeah, you can't do that, you can't do that." And I had to really kind of calm her down a little bit and says, "No, you know what? I'd rather get 1,000 false alarms than miss something. That's just what happens. I'd rather know that something's going on, even if it turns out to be nothing." Hi, Gene. How are you doing? Never lost a dog in a divorce. That's hard. It's almost as bad as losing the kids. Yeah, I'm doing all right, Gene. Just a typical day. Like I said, I just got back from. I was just driving around looking for something to vlog today, and I think it'll turn out to be a good one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how people watch it. It's really weird because the ones that I think are going to be really great, uh, nobody is interested in them, and then the ones that I think, oh man, nobody's going to watch this, and this one is horrible, and those are the ones that just have go through the roof on terms of views. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm still figuring this out, making it up as I go along. But even on the videos that don't get the views, the comments are always positive. I was really disappointed in the inner space caverns because neither of those videos really performed very well in terms of the number of views. But everybody that commented loved them. So I don't know. We'll keep doing them. It's just right now the focus has got to be kind of getting as many views as I can because right now that's where the money is. If I get to the point where I'm making enough money where I can have a video that maybe doesn't perform as well, then it won't be that big a deal. But right now, when if you normally get right now on average, I usually have like 1,000 views within the first 24 hours of a video being posted. But it took 2 days for day one of the inner space caverns to hit 1,000, and day two still hasn't hit that. I think it's only at 800 or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. Wow, Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to do this one a little bit earlier so some of our people over the pond, on the other side of the pond, can do that. Now, unfortunately, that also means that those of you in Australia, it's going to be really early. But I'm glad you got up to do that. It's Father's Day in Australia. I didn't know that. I guess I just assumed Father's Day was the same everywhere, but I guess it's not. I guess it doesn't have to be, right? So, to those of you who are fathers in Australia, happy Father's Day. And even if it isn't, even if it isn't Father's Day here, happy Father's Day to everyone. It's always good to have a Father's Day, right? Yeah, I think if you watch a video more than once, I get credit for views, not unique views. If they feed you ads twice, it's not how many times you watch the video, it's how many times you watch the ads. And if you watch the ads twice, it makes sense that's a good thing, right? Two black Labradors, Samson and Dakota, huh? Yeah, I had a black lab and I had a golden lab when I was a kid. Both of them were great dogs. I miss them both. Oh, that's too bad, Gene. I hope you feel better. I know what that's like. I kind of did that to myself about a week ago. Okay, I think we got our first troll of them today here. Bye bye. You start posting the same comments over and over and over again. Yeah, that's funny. A lot of people have been saying that they're getting Disney ads. That's fine. I'll keep taking money from Disney. If they want to put ads on my anti-Disney videos, that's cool. Yeah, I hope you feel better too, Gene. I know what it's like. I was sick about a week ago. I think I did it to myself, but you were assaulted and shot? Wow, that's horrible. I'm sorry, Gene. That's horrible. Hi, Kevin. How's it going in England over there? I guess I hear you're getting a little bit of rain, huh? Decided to come on a little bit earlier for you guys, so you didn't have to be up at 2 in the morning to watch. Wow, shot with a 45. That's even worse. That's a big shell to get hit with. But the only thing worse than that is like getting hit with a shotgun blast. Yeah, KJ, that's a good question. Where did you get shot? He's shot in the wrong place with a 45. It's all over. Wow, in the chest, huh? Wow. Yeah, lucky to be alive. Yeah, you're right, Jenny. It wasn't her time to go. Somebody up there's watching you. Somebody's watching for you. See, now that comment will probably be the one that gets this video demonetized. Just you wait. Yeah, sounds like it, Gene. Sounds like it was a miracle. Put it on a paper towel there so I don't get all the condensation dripping on me when I pick up my glass. If I could meet anyone dead or alive, who would I choose? Um, I kind of wish I could have met Vincent Price. That would have been fun. Um, Martin Landau would have been fun. I was a huge fan of him on Entourage, and he was great on Ed Wood. I would have loved to have met him. Unfortunately, Jordan actually met him once. He's got a picture of himself with Shelley and Martin. I've seen it. It's pretty cool. Have I talked to Jordan? We don't talk a whole lot. Most of what we do is via text messaging. And we went back and forth a few days ago when he had that issue with his Rolling Stones video because we had to really pull some stuff to get that video saved. And then he asked me at the same time if I could upload the Eagles video again because apparently that one got blocked really, really early on. He thought it was a good one, but I had the video already downloaded, so he asked me to send that back to him. I guess he recut that one and posted that. That was why that ended up on his channel a few days ago, is because we pulled that one out of the archives and we tried to get that one going again. A lot of times, early on, especially when going as long as Jordan has, it gets to the point where people kind of start at a certain point and move forward and don't always go back and hit the earlier ones. I have enough of a following now and a small enough library of videos that when people kind of do get into me, they'll go back to the beginning. But when you're where Jordan is, where you're over 1,100 videos, and somebody gets into you, they're not going to go all the way back to video one. They'll maybe go back and look and pick and choose. It's like, oh, I want to see that one. I want to see that one. I want to see that one. And yeah, I think Jordan was a little disappointed that Eagles one never really got the views he wanted to. So I know he got more views in the first 24 hours when he reposted it a few days ago than he'd ever gotten before on it. So yeah, with him, the videos are great all the way back. If you're really interested in him, you got to go back and watch him from the beginning. It's a long time. It's a big task to do it, I know, but yeah, see, and that's the thing, Jenny. A lot of people do that. They once they get in kind of into the middle, they start from where they are and then move forward, and you miss all the good stuff at the beginning. Yeah, if you get a chance, go back and watch his stuff from episode one. If nothing else, it's just fascinating to watch him grow as a vlogger because he's gotten so much better. Which vlogs? I'm assuming when you ask which ones I enjoy filming the most, you're talking about my vlogs, right? If so, I really, really like the Waco tornado one. I think that's the one I'm most proud of so far. I think that was the one that reminded me most of like Jordan's videos because I've seen Jordan do enough videos where he goes in there expecting to find something, and then he finds this and this and this and this, and the vlog just grows and grows and grows, and it turns into, at the end of the day, it turns out to be so much better than what he originally planned on it being. And that was one of those videos that, because I started out planning just to go out and see that little teardrop memorial and that little kinetic sculpture thing, and then I remembered when I was reading up on it that I'd seen that the Dr. Pepper Museum was hit by it and damaged by the tornado also. So I decided, well, that's just a couple of blocks away. Let's go see if we can see where the damage was. And I looked at it and looked at the building. I knew what side it had to be on because the tornado was over here and the Dr. Pepper Museum was here, and the tornado went right through the middle. And so I said, okay, well, it's got to be on this side of the building. You look at the building, and it's obvious that the bricks halfway up are done. And then when I got in there, there was a picture that actually showed, yeah, this is what it looked like and where it was damaged. So, I found that, and then I found that little thing on the ground that commemorated where the first Dr. Pepper was actually brewed in a drugstore. And that was just something that, I had been there looking at that little teardrop memorial thing, and I hadn't even looked down. And all of a sudden I came back to look at it again, and I'll look down. It's like, oh, wow, that's there. I got to do that too. It was serendipity. That's really what it was. That's the best way to describe it. It just kept growing and growing and growing. And it reminded me a lot of Jordan's vlogs, because that's how his work. Yeah, I don't know. Several people thought that the guy mumbled a little bit in the caverns. I don't know. It seemed pretty clear to me. It might have just been the fact that he didn't project very well, and maybe he was a ways away from me, and it kind of maybe wasn't mumbling so much as there was a little bit of an echo from the cave, and that kind of blended everything together. That's one of the things I've learned when I'm kind of vlogging. I have to project a little bit. Am I doing anything for Labor Day? No, not so far. Labor Day is for people who work, and I'm not really laboring yet, so don't really have any right to do anything on that. I don't know. I may get out and I might get out and do grill some burgers or something like that. Is the hole all underground? I assume you meant the caverns. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. It turned out that I think it was 1963, they were expanding the 35 freeway, and they had to do some core samples just to make sure that the bedrock underneath where they were going to put the freeway was able to support it. And that's how they discovered the thing. The thing was completely closed off and hadn't been open for who knows how long, tens of thousands of years probably. And all of a sudden they found it, and then of course they blasted their way into the hole and into the ground and found this thing. And I guess in reality, the part that we looked at is only just a very small part of it. There were two other tours that you could go that were a little bit more advanced. And I don't know, I might have to go back and do that at some point, but those aren't paved so you can just walk in there really easy. You actually end up, doing a little rappelling and climbing down and working your way through little teeny tiny holes on your hands and knees and stuff like that. Yeah, it's basically limestone, because what ends up happening is water, when it seeps into the ground, it filters through the ground for hundreds and hundreds of years and gets filtered out. And it's actually some of the clearest water comes out. But then when it finally gets into the underside of the cavern, it begins to drip down, and there's lots of limestone and stuff like that in there. And then it solidifies into the stalactites and stalagmites. Like I said, I had gone to the Carlsbad Caverns many years ago when I was a kid, and I was fascinated with that kind of stuff. And so when I saw that was there, there's actually 2 or 3 caves in the immediate area, and that was the closest of the 3. So that was why I chose that one. But yeah, I don't know. I might hit them, at some point. There were lights in the cave. They ran wires down and just kind of ran it along the walls there to get lights down there. In fact, at one point, I didn't show it on the video, but at one point, the tour guide literally turned the lights off in the cave for a couple seconds just so we could see really how dark it was. And I mean, it's dark. There's no light down there when the lights are off. I mean, one of the things you said is, yeah, and you can stay down there as long as you want, and your eyes are never going to adjust to it because there's literally no light there. How the cats settled? I think they're doing all right. I see both of them at night. When I'm not down here watching TV in the night, they're both down. And usually when I shake the food container, Nibble kind of hangs out on the stairs up there. And the second I shake the little food bottle here, she's down here in a second. Always capable of bribing her with the kitty treats. Both of them. I'm looking at Bite right now. Bite's literally just right over there, kind of watching me, wondering, what is he doing? Why is he talking to himself? He doesn't do that ever. What is it with that crazy guy, right, Bite? What's going on, right? Am I crazy for sitting there talking to myself? I'm talking to myself, right? I'm insane, right? Yeah. He's just staring at me. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I don't know. I might hit some of those other caves at some point. Like I said, I was a little disappointed with the views I got on those cave videos. They're catching up a little bit, but it's funny. I'm still trying to figure out what it is that people like to watch. Yeah. There were never bats in the cave when it was all sealed off because there was no way to get out. For them to get in or out. But now that the cave has been open, it's been open for, what, 50, 55, 56 years now. I think they said, what, 63 is when they discovered it. And it wasn't long after that they blasted the entrance into it. And now there are bats in there. I saw about four of them while I was in there, but I only caught one of them on video. And he was moving so fast, he was only on film for about 6 frames. That was why I had to slow it down so you could actually see him. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm starting to think, Brandy. And in fact, I think the video I do today, that's getting get posted today, is me kind of pondering what is really going on, what it is that you guys like, and I guess I got to face the idea that you guys find me more interesting than I find me. I think of myself as kind of boring, but that's great. If you, because it's funny, I look at it and one of the things that YouTube does that it will rank my past 10 videos and compare them to, it'll look at if I'm like 15 hours since I posted my last video, it'll compare that video to the previous 10 videos and tell me how those previous 10 videos were doing at the 15-hour mark, and it ranks them. And when I look at the videos that get all the views, it's the ones where I'm sitting in the chair talking to the camera. And I just when I think of those, it's like, oh man, nobody's going to want to watch that. Why am I doing that? But then I look at the views, and you guys do. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I still like doing the field trip videos, and I'll keep doing those, even if they don't quite get the views that the other ones do. Because, like I said, the people that do watch them and do leave comments, the comments are always positive. And I've never had anyone say, "Yeah, you shouldn't have gone there. That place sucked." So whatever. I'm making it up as we go along. Yeah. People that number two after the videos of me sitting in the chair talking to the camera. Number two are the restaurant review vlogs and the cooking vlogs too. I've only done a couple of those, but Because what was it? It was the chicken and rice soup. It was the burritos, and it was the omelet. And that was all I've really done so far. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of things that are kind of my specialty, and unfortunately, I've kind of run through almost all of my list right now. So I don't know. I might have to actually start making up some stuff so I can share it with you guys. That's cool. I'm glad somebody actually made that. I mean, I'm glad that somebody's liking the soup. I really like it too because I mean, while it takes a long time to make, it isn't really labor intensive because the thing that takes so long to do is just getting that rice ready, and that takes 12, 18, 24 hours to get ready. But what you do is you throw it in the water, you boil it, you stir it every once in a while, and so it isn't really labor intensive. It just takes a long time to do. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I like the soup because it's once you made it, you end up with a lot of it, and it's lots and lots of meals, and it's really satisfying, and it fills you up, and it's really healthy because I mean, there's really nothing in there that's unhealthy. I think if you keep the salt down, I mean, I like a little bit of salt on it, so but that's the beauty of it. There isn't, I don't say you got to put this much salt in it. It's just salt and pepper to taste. And if you don't like any of the salt, because the basic ingredients is it's just the chicken breast, and that's really healthy, and it's the rice, and that's really healthy, and it's the mushroom soup, and that's really healthy, and some mushrooms, and that's really all there is to it. Yeah, what I really ought to do with that is just put the recipe into writing. Because basically, what is it? It's a cup of long green brown wild rice. It's six chicken breasts chopped up. It's mushrooms and it's cream of mushroom soup. And I, put about 150% of the water that they call for in the mushroom soup into it because it evaporates off and it kind of, or it gets absorbed into the rice and the chicken and all that. If you just, usually with the Campbell's condensed soup, if you just put the one can of water in there like it calls, then it just gets too thick. Yeah, maybe that's something else I got to do. I've also kind of experimented around with making my own split pea soup, and that turned out really well too. I enjoyed that. Maybe I'll have to do that at some point. It's basically the same thing, only this time it's split peas instead of the rice, but it's very very good too. What I do is I'll go to the deli and get them to chop me up like half-inch thick chunks of ham, fillets of ham, and cut that up into squares and throw that in there. And will caulking compound make its appearance anytime soon? I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in the split pea soup. I don't really know what caulking compound tastes like, and does the white caulking compound taste different than the silicon? I don't know. You have to experiment with it. Who knows? Doesn't smell very good, so I would say probably wouldn't be a good thing to do. I'm actually pretty simple when it comes to cooking for myself. What I'm doing a lot lately is I'll just go buy like some flavored seasoning that you put on meat, and use that, and I'll just grill it out or put it in the oven for a while. I think it's Lowry's has well, it's something like Lowry's. It may not be Lowry's, but I found something recent that I like here that it's a chipotle and bacon flavored uh, seasoning. I've been putting that on chicken and pork chops, and it's fantastic, really good. No, I haven't bought a new grill yet. I'm going to wait until I get into a house because right now I have my old barbecue that's out in the back here, but I've got so much mileage on that thing that it's literally that the burner inside is rotted away, the drip plate is rotted away. Um, I don't know. I might be able to actually fix it. The electric igniter is also messed up, so I don't know. I could probably fix those things. It wouldn't be. I've had to replace the drip plate before, and it isn't really that hard to do. But I don't know. Maybe I can fix that one because I like that one. It was a natural gas one, and I had it in my house in California for a long time. Yeah, I don't know. It might be repairable, and if you're right, it might be a vlog. Basically all you got to do is because I mean the grill itself is fine. The outer shell of it is fine because it's thick and it's got a good coating on the outside of it. But the drip plate and the burner are made out of aluminum or steel or sheet metal, and they just don't last long. And of course, the electric igniter, you can get a replacement for those too. Yeah, right now I'm kind of taking recommendations. There's a couple of recommendations that people have made over the past couple of weeks that I'm kind of making a note of that I'm going to hit. I didn't do a food restaurant vlog today. I think I'll probably do one tomorrow. Uh, but somebody mentioned there's a place called Schmaltz's Sandwiches. Doesn't sound really good from the title, but I looked at their menu. It actually looks really fantastic. And I think last week on the live stream, somebody mentioned a place called Catfish King, and I've driven by that a bunch of times, and I wondered about it. So maybe we'll hit that too. I don't know. We'll see. I sometimes try and avoid doing the restaurant vlogs on Sundays because a lot of things are closed on Sundays here. Thanks, GRC. Appreciate that. Yeah, keeping the fingers crossed on the job. Cats are doing good, and well, the rental is what it is. Haven't heard anything from about Flash, but she just kind of does her things. That's one of the things I really liked about her as a pet. She's a really just kind of an autopilot pet. You just make sure she's got make sure she can't get out of the yard, has a safe place to sleep, and she's fine. Yeah, there's a fair number of restaurants in Waco. I haven't hit all of them. Try Raising Canes. I haven't heard that one. But chicken's good, yeah. Yeah, put that on. We'll put that on the list maybe. Check it out, see what they look like. Basically, what I'll do is when I go to a place, is I'll look it up online, see, if it's got any good, if it has good reviews, what the menu looks like if they have that. If it's got some sort of an interesting history, you never know. That place Casa de Castillo that I went to a few weeks back, they're like on the verge of celebrating their 100th anniversary. And I've been kind of following them on Facebook ever since, and I saw them post something about that a few days ago. Yeah, you got to look at the reviews. Like I said, I looked at the reviews of that Jake's Texas Tea place I went to a couple weeks ago, and the reviews weren't that good, but in fact they were pretty horrible. And but I also noticed that the reviews were like 10 years old. So I figured, okay, well maybe they got their act together, but no, they didn't. Yeah, Candles by Alexandria. I can't pronounce that either. In fact, I've heard it mentioned. I've heard it said a couple times on like documentaries talking about that volcano when it erupted. And honestly, when the people do say it on like in a documentary, it almost sounds like it's backwards masking. It's weird. I almost want to take the video, the audio, and flip it and see what it sounds like when you play it forwards, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody speaking backwards. That was actually the greatest thing about that volcano when it happened, though, is hearing the people in the news trying who had to talk about what was going on, try to pronounce it and just mangling it completely. No, Linda, Flash is back with my parents in California. I don't really have enough of a yard for her here, and there's too many things that would be dangerous. Yeah, you like that that park that was all closed down. Yeah, I don't know if you remember from, but a couple days later, I hit that those wetlands that went across the I think it was the Brazos River, and the person that was there that administered that place told me that yeah, it had been wiped out a few years earlier in the flood when it rained so hard and the water level on the lake went up, and they haven't opened it up again because there's no electricity down there. And without the electricity, they can't run the porta potties, I guess. Uh, Bottled water. Yeah, I haven't been brave enough to drink tap water. It's probably actually all right here, um, but I got out of the habit of drinking tap water in California and just really haven't gotten back into it. What do I remember about Mount St. Helens? I remember the ash. I remember that there rained ash. Because I in California I was 1,000 miles away from Mount St. Helens, and there was still ash raining down on us. It was thick. The skies were all red. It was weird. I do remember Mount St. Helens. In fact, a number of years after that, my parents went to visit Mount St. Helens, and they brought me this little plastic container thing that they had purchased that actually had some authentic Mount St. Helens ash in it. I still got it. It's in the storage locker somewhere. Thanks, Helen. I'm glad you like the caverns vlogs. I enjoyed that too. That was a lot of fun. You know, I go to places that, oh wow, that looks interesting to me. I want to see what's in there, and yeah, I really enjoyed doing the the caverns. That was a lot of fun. So I'm glad people did that like that too. It didn't get the views I would have liked to have seen, but the people that did watch it and did comment on it were universally loved it. No one, I didn't hear anyone say, "Oh man, you shouldn't have done that. That video was horrible" or anything. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that a lot. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Do I watch any other YouTubers other than Jordan? No, not really. I watch Adam every once in a while, but as I've gotten more into doing my own stuff, I haven't really been watching a whole lot of other vloggers except for Jordan. And even Jordan, I'm a little bit behind. Yeah, I was concerned that it would be too dark in there for the camera, but the camera did all right. There were a few places that were a little too dark, and I probably ought to take after Jordan and get one of those low light cameras like he has, because that thing is a miracle sometimes of what it gets. I can't believe how well that camera does. Just for a little point and shoot kind of instamatic kind of thing. I mean, I guess it isn't an instamatic; it's a digital camera, but it captures a lot of light. It does a fantastic job. Hi, Ruth. I'm doing well. How are you doing today? I can't really say if the caverns feel claustrophobic because I don't really ever have a problem with that. I could understand how some people would. In fact, I think a few people commented that even watching the video made them feel a little claustrophobic. But I've never really had a problem with that. I guess I'm lucky. I'm not afraid of heights. I don't have an exorbitant fear of just about anything. So I guess I'm lucky on that front. Do I get to post the pick? Do I get to pick the posting time for the vlogs? Yes. Yeah, I intentionally do it. When I used to do them in California, I would always post them at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, six in the evening, And so when I moved here to Texas, I just changed it to 8, so it's at the same time. So it's 6 o'clock p.m. California time, 8 o'clock p.m. Texas time, you know, and that's been working really well so far. Yeah, not really angry. I was just frustrated that it happened, with the paint on the car. But I'm happy that my neighbor was able to do such a great job on getting it cleaned up. Is there like a main street in Waco? Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been in and around there. A lot of the area around like where the Waco Suspension Bridge was, and where that 900 Degrees Pizzeria was, and the tornado vlog where that was, and the Dr. Pepper Museum. That's kind of all in the same area there. And I guess you'd have to call that Old Town Waco because a lot of those buildings there have been there for a long time. Yeah, you're not the first person to say that I should get paid for the repairs I've done. I don't know. In a way, I sort of have because by turning them into vlogs, I get paid for that. So, oh, Jordan went live. Oh, that's no good. I guess I'll expect all my numbers to go down now. That's okay. I won't take it seriously if everyone tunes into Jordan. At least if on this one I'll keep the live stream I'll keep the live stream up afterwards. You never know with Jordan. Well, in Australia, you're just kind of moving into summer now, aren't you? So things should be starting to get a little warmer. Moving into spring. Yeah, right. So it should start getting warmer because you're in the southern hemisphere. See, what I really ought to do now is I ought to move this computer into the other room where the other computer is, and I could put Jordan's live stream on the background, and you could have it running in the background while I'm here talking to you, right? I could do that. It wouldn't be too confusing hearing both of us talk at once. Yeah, Jordan doesn't leave his up a lot, so you know what that's what he does. That's fine. I mean, I sort of understand what he does, when he's out like on the road or something like that, because oftentimes he's a few days, ahead of where his vlogs are, and there's all too often if he leaves the live stream up afterwards, people will go in there and they'll try and look at what's going on in the background and figure out where he is, and then they'll start speculating, you know, what he's going to do, or they'll start sending him messages. Oh, you got to do this while you're there, and it's like, he doesn't do that. He likes to, he kind of likes to surprise people with what he's going to do, and I think it kind of ruins it when people start trying to guess. Yeah, I don't know. What is it, the Madrid fault line? Because I mean, there isn't a whole lot of earthquake activity here in Texas. I know that they get some little ones on like the west side of the state where they're doing all the drilling, but there isn't really a lot of seismic activity in the area. Yeah, Australia, because Australia's in the southern hemisphere. When it's winter here, it's summer there. When it's summer here, it's winter there. And so we're kind of getting out of summer now and starting to move into fall. So it makes sense that they're moving into the spring. They're half a year ahead or behind us, depending on your perspective. Yeah, I'm gonna try and go see that RC plane event. It depends on what the weather does, because we got this hurricane kind of blowing in off the Atlantic right now, and depending on where it goes, it may actually be raining here around that time. So I was actually just thinking about that this morning. I might have to get onto their Facebook page and see what they do if it rains. Yeah, I don't think Jordan's on here. I think Jordan's doing his own live stream right now. But I'll tell you, it was a chore trying to save that concert because I was first aware that there's a problem when I started looking at the Facebook page and people were saying, "Oh, what happened to the Rolling Stones concert?" It's saying that it's been blocked because of copyrights. And I looked, and it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't see it. And we went back and forth, and Jordan tried sending me the link to see if I could save it because one of the problems he runs into, he does all his editing on his phone, so he's got really limited storage space. And so the second he finishes a video, he deletes everything involving, everything that's a part of that. And so it makes it real difficult to do. And sometimes when things get blocked, it's hard to get it back. Fortunately, I have an advantage on mine because since I do everything on a computer, I got somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 terabytes of hard drive space here. I have not only every video I've shot and every video Jordan shot, but in terms of the videos I've shot, I also have the raw files that I use to make the videos. So if I needed to, I could actually go back to the original video and add something that maybe I should have put in or didn't. Yeah. Jordan still does everything on his cell phone. It's amazing he's just done it so much that he's gotten good at doing it on the cell phone. You know, I don't know if I'd be able to do it that way. I'm just spoiled using a computer. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. Yeah, they're up there, and like I said, I always leave my live streams up, so you can even come watch those later on too. But I appreciate that everyone goes back and watches them. I've been kind of watching lately, and I noticed that I think some of my new subscribers are literally going back to the beginning and watching them from the beginning because I'm starting to see like comments from the earlier videos and evidence that people are watching the first videos, which is kind of interesting to me. But they'll be there. Yeah, I've been kind of watching the track of Hurricane Dorian for the last few days. Like I said, it's a little bit more of a realistic issue that I got to watch out for now because of where I live. But yeah, at this point, they're kind of projecting that about the time it hits Florida, it's going to turn right and go right up the East Coast. But I don't know. We'll see what actually ends up happening. If they knew exactly what was going to happen, they'd be able to tell you exactly where it's going to hit. But they can't even tell you today where it's going to be tomorrow, let alone where it's going to be next week. And if it didn't turn right and go up the coast of Florida, and it plowed right through Florida and got back out into the Gulf again, it could strengthen. And then if it turned right and it could come right up into Texas. So it could still affect me, but at this point, it looks like they're predicting that it's going to run up the East Coast. At which point we may not get any rain out of that. I guess it depends on how strong it is when it makes landfall. They're predicting right now it's going to be a Category 4. Actually, I think I looked this morning. It is a Category 4 now. So yeah, it went from a tropical storm to a Category 1 to a Category 4 in just a couple of days. Like I said, I'm far enough inland that it really won't be much more than maybe just a heavy storm. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed the caverns. Yeah, I did too. That was fun. Yeah, exactly. Tis the season for hurricanes. We're just into hurricane season now. And that'll be going on for the next few months. I see that there's another tropical storm that's kind of brewing off the coast of Africa right now that, you know, might end up turning into a hurricane in a few days. We'll have to watch that. Right now, they're just calling it a tropical depression. Yeah, I'll double that, Sophie. Yeah, everyone, good luck on the hurricane. If you're on the east coast of Florida, out there on the peninsula, get inland, get away from it right now because it's going to be bad. The storm surge, will probably raise the water level 10, 20 feet. So if you're anywhere close to the ocean on the east side of Florida, or even Georgia, South Carolina, just get away right now. You really got to do it. You don't want to mess with hurricanes because once it happens, once it gets there, there's not going to be a chance to do anything about it. Then you're just going to have to write it out, and that's not going to be any good. Yeah, Artie, that's one of the reasons I chose Texas because I love, love, love strong electrical storms. They're very cool. Oh, I'm sorry, Peg. I'm sorry that the silent intros are doing that. I've actually been kind of thinking about doing something with an intro, but I got to find a song I like. And right now I haven't been able to find the right thing. Um, what I've been thinking about doing is, doing like little clips of different vlogs in the opening intro. Have the little picture, the picture at the beginning with some music in the background, and then just a bunch of little clips from my vlog, and then I could mix it up, every few weeks and throw in new footage in there and just see what happens. I don't think that would be terribly difficult to do, but at this point, I gotta start by finding some music that I like, and right now I haven't found anything that just seems right. Who's my favorite Beatle? I don't know. I like John and Paul, both of them. Uh, John, I think, was more creative and more, musically adventuresome, but I just can't get over Paul's voice. Paul has just such an amazing voice, and he writes such beautiful songs, you know, and performs them so well. I mean, just some classic melodies that no one could ever compete with. So I don't know. I don't know if I could pick one. But then again, I don't have a least favorite Beatle either. All four of them are great. What's my favorite band? I'm not really listening to a lot of music right now, so really couldn't say. I mean, Jordan got me into some bands that I like. Neutral Milk Hotel is pretty cool. I love them. They got a couple of great albums. You know, Listening to the Connections, through which is his friend. I've gotten into them. Animal Collective is pretty cool in terms of new music. Um, and then, of course, for a while, for a long time, I've been into a band called Guided by Voices, and they're kind of a big part of my life. So listen to them a lot. But then, like older stuff, just basic, the stuff that you hear on the oldie stations, the Beatles, the Stones, the like Janis, I like Jimmy, Zeppelin when you get into the 70s, like a lot of the punk movement. Devo was great in the 80s. Devo, I think, is one of the most underrated bands of the '80s because I think when everyone thinks of the Beatles, they think, or when everyone thinks of Devo, they think of one song, and unfortunately, that's their worst song. Yeah, I like and soul music, Motown. I like some Motown too. And I don't really have any particular bands that I like a lot, but I love listening to it on, hearing it on the radio and stuff like that. Not so much into the Eagles, I think, just because I got burned out on the Eagles. They played the Eagles to death when I was a kid, and there are times that it just gets too much, and you get over them. Okay, thanks, Peg. I appreciate you stopping by. Uh, yeah, you got to go. You got to do stuff. You can't spend all day with me. I understand that. That's totally cool. Thanks for stopping in. I don't appreciate Elvis Presley the way Jordan does. You know, people, it's either or. It's either Beatles or Elvis generally, and I'm more Beatles than Elvis. I think just because Elvis was a little before my time and never really appreciated him that much. I mean, he's a great artist. I'm not saying he isn't talented. It's just I'm not into it. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like the rewiring the light. It wasn't that difficult a thing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Elvis. It's just he's not for me. Not really into that. Yeah, job search is going along. We're going to see what happens, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, you're right. I didn't see that one. Thank you. We'll give him another shot. I don't know if he's a troll or just I. Yeah, I don't want to go down that going down that road. No, I'm not gay. If anyone wants to know, I like girls. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me. Yeah, well, the thing that I see with trolls is when they like start, blanketing the comments, or repeating the same thing over and over again. So I just deleted the comment rather than blocking him. He can still post if he continues making a pest of himself. Then how about Tom Petty? Tom Petty, I can take or leave. There's songs that he does that I really like, but I don't really have any albums. What I know of him was what I hear on the radio. Yeah, I do like Roy Orbison. We went when Jordan and I went through Wink. That was a lot of fun to see the Roy Orbison Museum, and I got to wear the Roy Orbison glasses too. I know Jordan spent a lot of time trying to get into SAG, and then about that time he stopped doing that and started doing this. So I think he's still. I don't know if he's keeping his SAG card up or not. Haven't really talked about that. Just listening and diamond painting. I don't know what that is. You're actually painting diamonds or painting pictures of diamonds. I don't know. All right, thanks for stopping in, Kevin. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've actually heard stories about Disneyland being haunted. Um, Never seen anything myself, but who knows? I have seen some kind of really creepy pictures or videos on YouTube about ghosts and stuff like that. There's one I saw that apparently showed a ghost walking in front of the rivers of America from Haunted Mansion heading over towards Pirates of the Caribbean. And they caught it on the security cameras, and that was interesting. I don't know what that is. It might just have been some ghost image or something, not as opposed to an actual ghost, something that some weird reflection on the camera or something. But it was weird because they caught it on multiple cameras, and so they show the image move across one camera, and then you flip to another camera that's right in the same area, and then you see it there, and then you see it again in the next camera. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. I know Disney is looking to do their own streaming service, and so if that happens, they're going. Netflix is going to lose all the Disney stuff. It's going to lose all the Pixar stuff. It's going to lose all the Marvel stuff. That's going to be big for Netflix because that's a big loss. You want to try and see if we can get Bite down here again? See if the kitty treats attract him. I don't see him right now. He might be up in his room. Sometimes when he runs up, he goes up into his room and then hangs out with Nibble. So it may take him a second to come down. I have explored outside of Waco a little bit because the caverns, those were uh, 60 miles south of here in Georgetown, which is quite a ways away. But I haven't really left Waco that much yet. Perhaps I will once I kind of run out of things here to do because I'm kind of running through the list now. I look at the interesting things to look at, and and I go through the list now. It's like been there, been there, been there, been there, been there. So yeah, I'm kind of quickly running out of things that are the real interesting things. Because what are the interesting things? It's the Waco Suspension Bridge, been there. Texas Ranger Museum, been there. Dr. Pepper Museum, been there. Um, the Waco Dam, been there. You know, so yeah, we'll hit more stuff. Like I said, I just found something kind of interesting today, right before I did this. That'll be up in a couple days, and actually something I'd seen online that's kind of on my list to hit. And I drove by it today and just kind of walked around it a little bit, and I think that'll be more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So you'll probably see that at some point. Thanks, Brandy. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, the Mammoth National Park. I've been there. Yeah, the episode's called "Welcome to Pleistocene Park." It was about a month or month and a half ago. Yeah, I'll do it. I haven't done it. Usually I do the restaurant vlogs on Saturdays. I'm going to do one tomorrow, I think. And it'll probably be middle of next week before that one comes up. I haven't decided where I'm going to go, but I got a list of about 3 things I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes I miss these things. Thanks, everyone. Sometimes I miss them. Sometimes when I'm talking, I'm paying attention to what I'm talking about, not watching what's happening on the screen over here. So, yeah, if you see something, definitely let me know. And if I agree that it's a troll, then we'll definitely deal with them. Yeah, that looks like a troll. So he or she is gone. It's happening less and less now. So I'm kind of starting to believe Jordan when he says that it's one person that has like 50 different accounts because it's happening less frequently. And every time I do it, I eliminate another one of his accounts, and that just makes it harder for him to do the next one because now he's got to go and create other ones. So, oh yes, gotta love the internet. I ever watched Dan Bell? No, I don't think I have. Yeah, no, I try not to ignore people. It's just sometimes when I'm talking, like I said, I kind of get going on what I'm talking about, and I'm not paying attention to what's happening over here. If you sit there and watch me and I look like I'm looking over here, it's because that's what I'm doing. I'm actually looking at what's happening on the screen over on this side. What time is it here? It's about 3:45 in the afternoon on Saturday. 5 kids and your firstborn turned 50. Yikes. Yeah, I'm still looking at the job application stuff. Applying for a few things, just looking for something that looks interesting. If something interesting really happens, I'll I'll let you know about it. But right now, it's just kind of at the early phases. When I was applying for those other jobs that I was shooting for, not much happened initially, and all of a sudden, then they call you back, and then things start to get exciting. Before that, it's just a bunch of paperwork. I know Baylor is really big on football here. I'm not really a football or a sports person, so it doesn't really have much of an impact on me. I don't know. That might mean that might get kicked out of Waco at some point, but you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hello, Grace. How are you doing? That's good. Glad you're doing good. I'm doing well too. Wow, that's quite a brood you got there, Gene. Bet you it's good to get them all out of the house. So yikes! Got still 3 of them living at home. That's no good. Time to show them the door. No, not vodka. Moonshine. No, it's just water. I was driving around a nice area of Waco today that had some really beautiful homes too. So it really encourages me to kind of keep my eyes open for them because there was I was in a real nice neighborhood today when I was out doing today's vlog, and I definitely saw a lot of houses there that'd be nice. One of the things I love, and this neighborhood I was driving through has a lot of just really big old trees that are creating this canopy almost over the area. The whole area was really green. It was really beautiful. So I could totally see myself living there. Although I'm sure that those houses are really nice and on really big lots, so I'm sure they're probably going to be way out of my price range. But that's okay. I'm expecting I'll find something nice at some point. Yeah, I wouldn't mind finding some nice old house. I mean, it's got to be to the point where it's got some like modern utilities in it. I don't want to have a house where you have electricity running outside the walls and stuff like that. Any great hamburger spots? Yeah, that Kim's Burger place that I went to last weekend was fantastic. I'll definitely go back there again. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be able to get a nice house in here because I had a lot of equity in my house in California. So, I'm going to be able to buy a pretty nice house and I'm going to be able to pay cash for it. So that's going to be really nice. Yeah, Kim's was excellent. I definitely recommend that. That was definitely one of the highlight places I've been. Yeah, I was actually a little reluctant to do a burger place just because I wanted to look for something that was maybe a little bit more unique. But I'm really glad I hit Kim's last weekend because that was really good. Yeah, I think probably 30,000 is maybe a little too little here. But they seem to have some really nice houses in the 2 to 2.5 range, and I could definitely do that. You were in the Inner Space Cave in 2004. Yeah, it was fun. I love that. Did I have a steak yet? Yes. I didn't actually. It wasn't actually. Okay, here we go. Here's one that's definitely a troll. I have had a steak when I've been here. It wasn't actually a restaurant vlog. It was the last day that I unloaded the last pod, and I hit the Texas Roadhouse here in Waco, and that was fantastic. Had a really great steak. I was really hungry and really dehydrated from that day, and that place filled me up and rehydrated me, and I was in good shape after that. Did my neighbor say what he used on the car to remove the paint? Yeah, he had something that he called a clay bar. Basically, it was a ball of some mass that actually looked like a piece of clay, and basically he just rubbed it on the finish. And I was really concerned that it was going to damage the finish underneath, but he gave me he did a little sample where he like cleaned like a little 12-inch part of the car, and showed me that it did a fantastic job. And at that point, I said, "Okay, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I'll pay you to do the whole car," because at this point, I was thinking I was either going to have to live with that, or um, or have the whole car painted, and I didn't really want to do that. Am I vegan? No, I am not. I mean, I'll eat vegan. I'll try anything, especially if it's delicious. But yeah, no, you can't be vegan and go to a steak place. Oh, you didn't have to retract that. There's nothing wrong with that's a legitimate question. I've had some really good vegan stuff. I'm not willing to go full on vegan because, sorry, I'm a carnivore. I admit that, and I'm not ashamed. Yeah, Texas Roadhouse was weird because I don't usually do chains, and that was a chain, but I'd never seen one before. Well, I'd never been to one before, and it was really good food, and it was a fun place to be in too. It was some you know, great stuff inside. It was very well themed. So yeah, go check out the day that I unloaded the last pod. I think I literally called that vlog "Escape." I've escaped the pod people or something like that. And at the end of the day, I went there, and I actually did talk about the did go to the restaurant and show the inside of the restaurant and show the food. So it was almost a food vlog, but not really. Was it the one with the cars in it? No, that was the one with the cars in it was the Jake's Texas Tea House, I think, and that was the one I wasn't really into. No, it was back. It was back a month or so ago. I think it was right after I came back from California when I went home to visit my parents because my father was in the hospital. Because I had originally planned to have the last day of unloading that pod, and I planned to do it while a couple days in the future, and then I had to cancel it because I had to fly home to California. So it was right after that, like within a week of getting back from that, where I did that. I don't remember what the exact episode was called, but I think the thumbnail picture was like a picture of like was a painting of like cowboys or something like that. No, the one that was by the river, that was, what was it called? That was, oh nuts, I can't remember what it was called. Um, um, Buzzard Billy's, I think is what it was called. That was the one that was by the river. Yeah, my dad's doing seems to be doing fine. I think he's on his own now. He's back home and exerting himself more than he should. So yeah, he's doing well. We're still trying to struggle to get him to remember that he's not 20 years old anymore. But what can you do? Sometimes they need to learn. Sometimes they just need to learn that on their own. He's moving in that direction. Though, when he was in the hospital, my mom kind of got to the point where she hired people to start doing the gardening in the yard and all that stuff. And so my father's not doing that anymore. So that's a good thing. He shouldn't be doing that at his age. That's right. Yeah, Buzzard Billy's. It's great that he has a young mentality, but can also be a bad thing too. And it's funny because 20 years earlier he had to deal with the same thing with his father. It's just one of those things he's got to realize on his own. Yes, it is. That is life. Your dad just shows up and picks up pine cones. Okay, well, that's a good habit, good hobby. Not likely to hurt himself there. Yeah, but Buzzard Billy's was good. I'll give him credit for it. It was really good food. You never know what's going to be inside. But I looked at the reviews, and the reviews look good, and it looked like stuff that I really like. And I was in the mood for seafood that day. And where's my salt fly gun? It's in the other room. It took me a little while to get the hand to realize that the sights aren't set right on it. So initially, when I would use it, all I would do is just scare the fly away because I always ended up firing about a half inch above where the fly was. So what I ended up ultimately learning is that you got to aim about a half inch above the fly in order to hit them. But once I figured that out, the thing is pretty lethal to flies. Just got to deal with the fact that the sights are off. Now I've intentionally fired it at my hand from 2 feet away, and it hurts. So if it hurts me, I can imagine what it's doing to a fly. But that when you're dealing with something the size of a fly, grains of salt, it's like shooting them with a shotgun. Where did I get the weather monitor? At Home Depot. Yeah, it's a company called Accurite. You could probably find them online. Accurite, I think is how it's spelled. Just go search it online. It works really well. Yeah, that's the downside with a salt gun is you're constantly sweeping salt off the floor. In fact, I was thinking early on that you could probably use sugar too, but you wouldn't want to use sugar because sugar is going to attract more insects, and then you're going to just have a bigger problem. Salt at least doesn't attract the bugs. All right, thanks for stopping in, Jenny. Yeah, you go take care of the pups. They need some love too. Glad you stopped in. Do you have weather spoons over there? I don't know what a weather spoon is, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question. Oh, okay. It's like a weather vane. I don't have one here. Basically, what the weather station, that thing right there, does, it's got a little device that I've got out in the backyard, and it gives you it gives you the temperature and humidity outside, and then everything else is inside. And so, what you get with it is temperature, humidity, inside and outside. You get barometer, which kind of tells you a lot. Now, some of the more advanced weather stations will also have a wind speed meter and a rain gauge. I had one of those back at home, but I don't know. I've had really bad luck with making them work. So, yeah, Weatherspoons. Yeah, it sounds like that would be a restaurant or a bar. You're right. See, that's why I have all you guys. Because you ask me something I don't know what it is, I'll just tell you I don't know what it is, and then you all tell me. So I learned something from doing these. Trying to decide pizza or Chinese for dinner. If it was my choice, I'd go pizza any day. Chinese is good, but it just isn't filling enough for me. But that's just me. You got to decide on your own. Chinese is good food. It's just I'm hungry again in 2 hours. Silver Creek Ranch on University Parks, huh? Okay, I'll have to put that maybe on the list, or at least look into it. I really ought to have a pencil out here so I could write this stuff down. Thai would be good. But I love spicy stuff, so that's good. Indian food, same thing. When's the next cooking video? Don't really have anything planned right now because all of my good cooking implements are still in the storage locker. I just got like 4 or 5 pots and pans, and that's about it. So yeah, now you got me craving jalapenos poppers. Thanks, VNA. Now I'm going to start drooling on camera, and people are going to laugh at me. Now the trolls will really have something to go after. Hey, look at him, he's drooling. But yeah, those jalapeno poppers, those are fantastic. Really, really good. Yeah, another hit over at Kim's. Yeah, I don't really have. Part of the problem is I got such a small kitchen here. I don't really have a lot of room for my cooking stuff. It's probably a lot of that stuff's going to probably end up staying in there until time move into a house. Additionally, there's like 300 boxes in there, and sometimes they're stored stacked 2 or 3 deep, and so you almost have to unload the whole locker to find everything. You got to remember, I got 2 storage lockers filled with stuff right now. I'm kind of looking back at this end of the comment here. KJ said that in that video, the guy came up with a golf cart after you ate in the restaurant. It looked like he was going to kind of confiscate your video or something like that. Yeah, I was a little worried about that too, actually, because he came up to me and while I was in the middle of shooting something, he said, "Hey, Mister," or something like that to that effect. You can actually hear it on the camera, and I cut the camera at that point, and that's when I found out what it was all about. But yeah, I wasn't sure what it was about either. Oh, I'll keep doing the food vlogs. I just, like I said, I don't have any of my good stuff right now, and so I can't do a whole lot. But the restaurant vlogs, they're easy to do, and people like those, and it's fun to go see. It's fun to go try different things because then when somebody comes into town to visit or something like that, then I'll know where to take them. Because I've already got several good places to take somebody. All I got to do is, hey, what are you in the mood for? You want a steak? Great, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. You want barbecue? Okay, let's go to this place. You want a burger? Let's go to that place. Want pizza? Let's go over there. Chili, yeah, chili would be good too. I'd actually like to learn how to make my own chili, and that's something I might mess around with a little bit once I get into a house and have a little room to, spread out. Yeah, that's a big part of actually what I look for in the restaurants is how they theme it, and a lot of places are really cool theming. So yeah, I love chili too. So far, I've been eating chili out of a can, and I haven't really found anything local here that I really like yet in a can. In fact, I've had some things that I thought tasted like dog food, and that was no good. Yeah, not necessarily a fan of stuffed cabbage, but I don't know. Yeah, I gotta really what I gotta do is I gotta start having like a piece of paper and a pencil here so I can write these suggestions down. That actually sounds like a good idea, Emma. She bought a bag of jalapeno flavored Fritos. I'm not generally into Fritos, but there's some jalapeno chips that I like, and she crushed them and then used them as a coating for pork chops. Sounds really good. Might have to try that. I should review my canned good recipes. Yeah, it wouldn't be real good reviews so far. The chili, like I said, the chili I've had so far has been unimpressive. But it's canned, what do you expect? What I'd really like to do is learn how to make my own. And I think if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need to get like a slow cooker or a crock pot or something like that. That's the way you really want to do that because you with chili you want to cook it over a long period of time so it gets real tender and real flavorful. Hi Marissa, everything's doing good. I decided to actually come in and do this one early today so people like you in the UK could actually uh, not have to stay up until 2 in the morning to watch. So this one's for you. Yeah, we heard that the Jordan's live too. That's probably why my numbers are under 100. I usually have about 100 or 120 peak. I don't think I've seen much more than I have now, which is about 71. But that's okay. We're getting, we're doing our thing. He's doing his. Thanks, Leona. I'm glad you liked the cave vlog. Yeah, when I get to the point where I'm looking for pressure cookers or that kind of thing, I'll do my research and figure out what's the best thing for me and for my needs. But yeah, I'll probably get one of those at some point. We're getting close to Christmas here, and my mom's going to want a Christmas present. And you know what? She always likes getting cooking stuff. So yeah, I bet you the pork chops are good that way. Because I bet you the chips tend to kind of lock in the moisture. I don't know if I'm going to go home this year for Christmas. It's going to depend on what the job looks like because I don't think I'll be really eligible for vacation time, even if I start a job right now. And if I start with a new company, I'll be low man on the totem pole. So even if there are options to get that day off, it'll be for other people, probably not me. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Thanks. I'm glad you like the cooking vlogs. Yeah, I'll continue doing those at some point. I've kind of run through all of my like A list material right now. So the only thing I really got left that I want to show you is my lasagna, and that's gonna probably have to wait until I move out of this place and get back into the house because I'm gonna need all my cooking implements for that. Glad you liked the cave vlog. Yeah, that was fun to do. Like I said, I gotta get a better low light camera, something like what Jordan has, because that camera he has is a miracle. I haven't found any real dark sky areas. That's something I would love to find around Waco, uh, but haven't found anything yet. Actually, in terms of astronomy, I did a vlog yesterday that I think you'll probably see tomorrow, where I got a new astronomy toy. I'll show you that, but you'll have to wait till tomorrow. I'm not, no spoilers here. Bought a new toy. I'll explain the whole story tomorrow when you see the vlog. I kind of thought having the kids in the cave was a little bit annoying because, you know, they kids don't understand the concept of indoor voice. But whatever. There was actually only I think one or two kids in there, and it just sounded like a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I was kind of proud of that of the trilobite too. That was a really nice piece. Yeah, the guy did get the paint off my car. He did a really good job. Dark sky just means that there's no artificial light on the ground and you can really, really clearly see the sky. You know, a lot of places that there's just so much light pollution in the area that what ends up happening is you only see a few stars. But when you get a real dark sky, then that's when you can see, you know, thousands and thousands of stars. And you can usually see the Milky Way too, which is really fun. There's just fewer and fewer places like that in America anymore, unfortunately. And Todd, you aren't dumb. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. The ability to ask questions means implies great intelligence because it requires great intelligence to acknowledge that you don't know everything. Yeah, I don't know if they ship, but I've seen a number of people online they'll sell fossils like that. Well, in terms of being careless when they were painting, I think it was more of an issue that it was the wind, because I think probably when it happened, they were probably painting like 100 feet that way, and it's just that the wind carried it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet on Halloween night. It all depends on whether I have a job or not, because if I have to work that night, obviously I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot. How can you tell the difference between a star and a GPS satellite? Generally, the GPS satellites are pretty dim. You don't see them that much. You know, it's hard to tell though. You're right. And there's so many satellites up there. Fortunately, the only ones that are really difficult to tell that it's a satellite are the ones that are in what they call a geosynchronous orbit, which means it just stays in one place in the sky. You know, if it's and generally those are in a straight line over the equator, so they're quite a ways away, and they'd be way, way, way to the south of me, and because of how far north of the equator I am. But a lot of satellites that you see up there, including the space station, you know, you can tell it's a satellite because it's moving. It'll move across the sky. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the space station up there, but you know, when it's up there, it's I think like the seventh brightest thing in the sky. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what Waco does for Halloween. I hope they do something good. Somebody sent me a YouTube video in the comments of my videos a couple days ago. I think it was probably on the Halloween video where they showed some house where this woman in Louisiana, I think, Uh, puts like all sorts of skeletons up with like really really horrible puns, and yeah, that was interesting. That's the kind of thing I'd love to do. I mean, not necessarily the skeletons per se, but some sort of a big display that causes people to come from all over the place. Yeah, there's actually apps that you can get for your phone and even a website on the internet that'll tell you when you can see the International Space Station, the ISS. And I've seen it a number of times. A lot of times you just you look up and you see something moving. It's like, oh, that's the space station. It's interesting to see it though. Yeah, I don't know. I might decorate the door. That's never really been a big thing in California though, because I had one of those big hanging ghouls that covered up the door. And usually on Halloween, I don't even wait in the house with the kids. I'm usually lurking in the backyard waiting for them to come. Usually hide behind something and then pop out when they're not expecting. That's fun. Yeah, as long as the sky is clear and you're looking at the right time, it's the space station is really fun. And depending on where in the sky it is, it might be up for 3 or 4 minutes when it moves across the whole sky. So yeah, space shuttle too. That's a little bit different, but because it was smaller. But also, when I used to live in California, periodically we'd see like when they'd launch a rocket from Vandenberg, you'd see those go up periodically. That was interesting too. Especially when they launch a rocket right after sunset, because then it's really really noticeable. Because what ends up going on is when you get high up in the sky, there you get to the point where you're no longer in the dark and you're in the sun, and so the exhaust from the rocket as it goes up will just glow in brilliant, beautiful colors. Yeah, you're right. There is a website that you can do that. I know there's apps for both iPhone and Android that allow you to do that because I got one on my phone. It'll send you alerts when the space station or other noticeable satellites are going to be overhead. Yeah, I wish I actually kind of had my phone here because I'd just pull it up right now and call it. You know, tell you, but go search ISS for International Space Station. Yeah, Sputnik. That would have been fun to see that. That was the first man-made object to go into orbit. That was a little before I was into space, so I actually have it on my homepage, the link to the space station site, but I'm reluctant to do it right now because I don't know if I switch to another tab on my browser if it'll shut down the live stream or not. I don't want to do that. So Do I plan on any travel? Not at this point. I haven't really even thought about that. I didn't travel a whole bunch even before I started vlogging. And right now, without a job, I really can't do that a whole lot. And so we have to cross that bridge. I mean, I have family in Minnesota, and for a while there, when I had a little bit more money, I would travel to Minnesota, every couple of years. And I had a friend that lives in Hawaii, still does, and I used to go there on, periodically to hang out with him, but haven't been able to do that for a while. Just haven't really had the money to do it. And you're right, job is the priority, Helena. The thing I loved most about Hawaii, though, was not the thing that most tourists like about Hawaii. Not really into the beaches. I wasn't really into the the islands with all the tropical vegetation. As a geologist, what it is that I love most about Hawaii was the Big Island, where the volcanoes are active and where there's big, massive lava flows that you can crawl around in. I love going through like lava tubes and stuff like that. Those are fun. That's what I'm into. Unfortunately, my friend lived on the Big Island on the Kona side, so I'll tell you what, though, on the north side of that island, kind of the northwest side of the island, there's a place there called Waipio Valley. It's got to be one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. I believe that's where they filmed the final scene of Waterworld. Best part of that movie was that scene. Hello, Dee. Welcome aboard. Yeah, sorry you got right in here at the end. We're going to probably be ending this in a few minutes, but I don't know. I can go for a little while. Usually the thing that makes me stop is when I start these at 6 and I want to end them at 8 so that you guys will go watch my next video. But the next video doesn't go up for another 3.5 hours, so I don't know. We'll maybe stick for a little while. Yeah, I enjoy doing the live streams too. Oh, look who's here! Jordan just popped in. What is the meaning of life? I don't know. I have to go watch Monty Python and answer that question. Does Waco have an old train station? It might actually, come to think of it. There's a lot of train tracks downtown. I think if you when you watch the video where I did that tornado video, um, there was I was kind of wandering around the Dr. Pepper Museum, and I noticed that like every other block or so, there's like a railroad spur that went down there. So there may be some interesting train stations around here. But the truth is, I haven't looked. So, and I haven't really seen a lot of train activity. So it seems like a lot of those train tracks are like just all kind of not being used anymore. I don't know. Might be something to go look for. What's my favorite kind of frozen pizza? I like DiGiorno. That's pretty good. In fact, they've got a couple of varieties of DiGiorno pizza that I found here that have like cheese in the crust and garlic on the crust, and those are really good. I found those. I've only found those here, so been a fan of those. Yeah, well, I've been thinking. In fact, I was just thinking today, Jordan, about calling that guy that you talked to me about a few weeks back and talking to him because I think that would be fun to go hit the shooting range. I don't know if they'd let me vlog that, but I could ask. And I would guess since that person you told me about, I guess brought the idea up to you that maybe it would be okay. I don't know. I'd have to ask. But yeah, I might go back and check that out. That would be fun. Yeah, I got a shotgun for Christmas a couple years ago, and I've never used it yet because it just hasn't been an opportunity to go and do anything with it. But it would be fun to go try that once. It would definitely be funny to watch me fire that thing the first time I get knocked on my butt. I thought it would be fun to go right across the country on train too. Yeah, the only concern I had about doing a shooting vlog is that it might be a little too political. There's it's firearms are a very polarizing issue. Granted, this is Texas, but not everybody here is from Texas, so I got to worry about that. I don't know. I might do that. It could be fun because people have they're either very pro gun or they're very anti gun, and there isn't a whole lot in the middle there. Yeah, Jordan. I don't know if Jaw's watching, but yeah, I miss Jaw too. Hey, Jaw, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, well, that's another thing. YouTube may demonetize it. I tried to take kind of middle ground with issues like that, and either not talk about things politically, or just try and not push issues on that, especially when I'm kind of growing here, because I don't want people to stop watching me because they don't like my politics or something like that. That's just not good. I don't agree with businesses that do that anyway. I would never invest in any business that the officers or CEO take a political viewpoint on something, because right off the bat you've angered half your customers. That's just not a good idea for business. You're entitled to have your opinion. You're even entitled to express it if you want, but don't be surprised if you lose customers because of it. It's just not a good idea. And that's why I've really tried to stay away from political issues here. And that's why if somebody asks me a question like that, I'm not going to say. But then again, I also kind of noticed that a lot of my viewers and followers are a little bit more mature. I don't really have a lot of young people that are watching me. It's people that are like 30 or older, and a lot of times, you get a little older, you get a little bit more experience, and you realize that you just gotta you gotta take what it is, and you're a little bit more open minded, I think, with certain issues. Yeah, that's how it's done. Gun safety edition, right? Yeah. See, I wouldn't mind going because this person that Jordan told me about is runs like does some like gun safety courses. So like I said, it'd be fun to go out there and get a chance to try that and make sure I know how to use the thing properly. I have a handgun also, and I fired that a number of times, but never fired the shotgun yet. I mean, I know how it works. I've read the directions and I've fired a shotgun before, just not this one. Yeah, and you don't ever have to worry about that, Kathy. I'm never going to shoot either people or animals. I wouldn't even use my salt gun to shoot at animals. Although I did admit earlier that I shot myself in the hand with a salt gun. but it was like from 2 feet away. I just wanted to see how much of an impact it had. Would I shoot a minotaur? Um, I don't know. Probably not. Because even though they aren't real, I don't know if I'd want to. I still if one suddenly showed up, yeah, no, probably not. I've purchased guns. I'm not even into hunting. I wouldn't go kill an animal even in hunting. That's just not what I'm about. I have, uh, you know, I have them for self defense exclusively. And I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it, for target shooting and stuff like that. But I love animals too much. You saw one on David Oman's. Yeah, well, it must be real then. Yeah, I never really had any interest whatsoever in hunting. I could have too, because my uncle in Minnesota goes hunting all the time. Uh, well, like every winter, or at least did. I don't know. I haven't heard recently that he's done it, but it's just I love animals too much to do that. It would be target and self defense only. Yeah, the only thing I've ever done where it's anything where I'm like hunting animals, or anything to be called hunting animals, is fishing. And I guess that bugs me a little bit, but I don't know why it doesn't bug me as much as it would bug me, for instance, shooting an animal. I mean, even occasionally when I was in California, I had occasionally the neighbors had like fruit trees, and they didn't do a real good job cleaning up after them. And we'd I'd end up with like rats in my backyard, and the deal was always to catch them alive. In fact, I had a problem with possums in the backyard too, and I would always catch them alive and relocate them because I don't even possums. I don't want to kill them. There've been a couple of cases where they ran away and hid somewhere and got themselves into a position where they died themselves, but that wasn't my fault. Uh, but yeah, they're just doing they're just doing their thing, and they have as much right to be there as I have to be there. So what I would do is I'd catch them. I figured out real easy. Possums are easy to catch because their first instinct is to either play dead and hope you go away, and if they don't, they try and find some place to hide. So my trick was always I would tip a trash can on the side and chase them into it, and they'd run right into the trash can. You just tip up the trash can, you got them. Oh yeah, you don't like spiders? Sorry. Yeah, well, I used to keep black widow spiders as pets, so yeah, I went the other extreme on that. I used to be able to catch black widow spiders in my yard. It was always fun when you catch a female that was pregnant too. One of the things I learned about black widow spiders is since females tend to eat their mates, uh, they what they're able to do is they'll once they've mated, they hold on to the male's DNA for life, and they can reproduce at will. So as long as the food is good, they'll reproduce. So I fed mine really well, so there were a lot of baby spiders. I only screamed once when I encountered a possum, and that was because I had a big bag of fish food when I lived in California, and I had the fish food for the fish. And I'd seen a possum around for the few days before, and one day I reached into the box to grab a handful of fish food for the fish, and there was a possum in there, and I didn't see it in there, and the thing clomped onto my hand, and I knew immediately what had happened. So and at that point, I was concerned of an issue of rabies, and so I actually called vector control, and they came and picked it up. And unfortunately, they had to kill it because that's the only way you can tell whether it has rabies. Turns out it didn't, but that's what happens. I actually did a little research on the issue afterwards and discovered that in California there'd been like 2 cases of rabies infected possums found in the last 100 years. So if it happened again, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't, panic too much about it. But at the time, I didn't know. So yeah, they have big teeth, and when they're angry, they'll back into a corner and they'll show you those teeth. Are there any creepy crawlies in Texas? Well, there's creepy crawlies everywhere. I haven't really seen a lot of like spiders and stuff like that, but uh, you get different kinds of insects. There's lots of crickets around here. You see cockroaches every once in a while. They're everywhere. Um, but yeah, I haven't really seen any of that. I'm told there's scorpions in the area, so you got to watch out for them, but haven't seen any yet. Come to Louisiana, everything moves. I've been in Florida during the summer, and I was amazed at some of the spiders they have there. They're huge. They're like big enough to take your hand off. Do I like bats? I would actually love to have a bat as a pet. You look at those faces; they're so cute. I don't know. Everyone thinks they're scary looking, but I've heard of people domesticating possums and they turn into great pets. Uh, I've only ever had encounters with wild ones, so my father told me a story once where he had a possum in the backyard or got into the garage and he chased it under like the wood pile and he was trying to figure out how to get it out because the dogs were just going crazy. And what he did basically is he just stuck a broom handle under there and the possum clamped down onto the broom and he pulled it out and literally carried it out on the end, hanging by his teeth on that. Yeah, I think Jordan and I were talking about this once. I was thinking about building bat houses when I get a house, just because that it'd be fun to have them in the yard because they are such ravenous insect eaters. See, that was the reason why I really always encourage like black widow spiders in my house too, because they eat a lot of bugs. And of course, we had a couple different species of lizard that lived in my yard, and of course, I gave them a wide latitude too because they're great insect eaters too, and they were fun to look at. Yeah, possums are scary, but if you respect them, you won't really have a problem with it. Like I said, they generally prefer to stay away from people, and they'd rather run away from you than get into a battle with you. But I probably captured 20 of them or so at my house and relocated them. Just take them a few miles away, find some place where there'll be food and water, and they'll be fine. Usually some area right out in the middle of nowhere, so they don't end up in somebody else's yard. Yeah, if it came to bat houses, I mean, I've seen what they look like enough where I could probably just build my own. It's funny, some of the pictures I have of possums, though, it makes it look like they're smiling at you when they're baring their teeth at you. Yeah. Now skunks, that's a whole different incident. Now I've heard people of if you can get the skunk descented, they turn into great pets too. I wouldn't mind having a skunk. It's a cute animal. It's just you got to work for that. You got to worry about that backside, but um, you know, wouldn't mind having one as a pet. They're kind of cool. You just got to get them descented, and you can do that. Defunct skunk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've never had the privilege of being sprayed by a skunk, and I'm actually grateful for that. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I've smelled the results of skunk from a long ways away, and I know enough that I don't want a close encounter. Wouldn't surprise me that they would use a litter box. I had a rabbit that I trained to use a litter box too. In fact, I didn't even train it; it trained itself. It seems to me that skunks only spray when they're threatened. And so, like I've seen, encounters where people like on trails come across a family of skunks going by, and as long as you're not a threat to them, they aren't a threat to you. Yeah, I've heard a lot of different ways to deal with skunk spray. I've heard tomatoes and some other things too. I don't know which ones are effective or not. 'Cause I think the issue is that um, it's a real oily funk that they spray at you. Well, one of the things you got to worry about bats also is that they can have rabies. But a lot of times, you just if you get them, if they're domesticated and maybe raised in captivity, that isn't a danger. But yeah, I could understand how the urine and the feces could be a problem. Yeah, I guess I've heard of peroxide too being an issue. We have rabies occasionally in the U.S. Like I said, when I got bit by a possum that one time, I was concerned about rabies, but I actually researched the issue and found out there'd been like two cases of actual rabies that came from a possum bite in like the last 100 years. So it's rare, whatever it is. But I think it's more common in dogs because they still insist that dogs and cats both get rabies vaccines. All right. Well, I think it looks like we've been going for a little over 2 hours now. So I think I'm going to probably end this now. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And be sure to check out my vlog, which will be up in about 3 hours and 16 minutes. So thank you, everyone. Good night.